So welcome everyone. I see some familiar faces and some new faces. We're going to start officially in just a couple minutes. We'll give people some time to join us. Um, I usually start with a little talk, then we'll do some stretches, and then I'll guide you in a nice full yoga nidra. And feel free if there are questions either before we begin or at the end. I'll take questions. You can either ask them in the chat or just unmute yourself at the end. And those of you who don't have questions and just want to go off into your own relaxation, feel free to just end the meeting and go off on your own. But if you do have questions, definitely feel free to stay on. I'd be happy to answer them for you. So some of you I just saw not too long ago, so I'm really happy to see us staying connected, which is so nice. So just go ahead and make any last minute adjustments. I think we have about 5 more people who are going to be joining us. So we'll start in just a few minutes. All right, everyone. So once again, a warm welcome to you. Um, as I said earlier, nice, so good to see those of you who I know, and so wonderful to meet and to welcome those of you who I don't know yet. So the way that I usually do this is I will just give a little talk on something that I happen to be thinking about. Always nice to have reminders in life about the path that we're on or things to consider or contemplate. We'll do a few stretches and then I'll guide you in a nidra. And either after my teaching or after the entire yoga nidra, you're welcome to stay on and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. Or if you'd rather just go off and enjoy the rest of your evening, hopefully floating after the nidra, you're welcome to do that too. So I will not take offense if you just end the meeting at the end of the yoga nidra. So let's just start with a short, brief centering, just closing the eyes. And just taking a moment to get settled here. Consciously allowing the belly to rise just a little bit more. And allowing the belly to fall naturally. A couple more, inhaling through the nose, filling the belly up. And exhaling through the nose or mouth, just breathing out any extra tension or holding. And one last time, inhaling together. Hold. And exhale, breathing it out. And just enjoying being in each other's company, recognizing that you've given yourself this time not to just focus on the outer world, but to take time to nurture your inner world, your inner peace, your calm, your sense of well-being. And acknowledge yourself for giving yourself this time. And acknowledge this little community, the power of this community as we go into Yoga Nidra this evening. We'll chant Om together, inhaling. Om. Shanti. And bringing the hands together at heart center. And as you're ready, just opening your eyes. Happy to be with you all and to see you all. All right, so today I was thinking about what to talk about, and about once a month I write a blog, and the what I talked about this time around was really about how to have a healthy relationship with positivity, which that sounds weird because it sounds like, well, positivity, isn't that good? Isn't positivity a positive thing? But from the point of view of yoga, yes, being positive or cultivating a helpful way of looking at the world is helpful, but it does have its pitfalls. And so I thought I'd talk a little bit about how yoga understands the positive and negative in life, or what we like and what we don't like, and how the practice of yoga ultimately, even though positivity certainly has its role to play, from the point of view of yoga, it's like a middle step. But ultimately, we want to go to that place that is even beyond positivity or negativity, the place where we are resting as the sky, where both things that we like and don't like can pass through the sky of awareness like clouds, while you are resting as the sky, where you can be at peace, not just in the midst of the positive, but also the negative as well. And negative, that sounds so negative, but what we like or what we don't like, what we would normally, attach to or be afraid from, can we just allow it, enter into a relationship where we can allow it all to be? So let's just start a little bit at the beginning here. And from the point of view of yoga, everything in existence, everything in form arises in polarity. And imagine the yin yang symbol. So it's a circle with that kind of squiggly line in the middle. So that circle, which is made up of two complementary opposites. And that sign really is what yoga says as well, that the whole of life, the whole of the circle is made up of complementary opposites. And you can only be in relationship with the whole of life if you are in relationship with all of its parts, both the up and the down, both the happy and the sad. So if you think about it, all of life arises in polarity, the biggest polarity being what lives must die, right? So, night and day, happy and sad, success and failure, tension and relaxation, pain and pleasure, breath in and breath out. You wouldn't want to only just breathe in, breathe in, and breathe in. You wouldn't want to just have tension or just relaxation all the time. We wouldn't want to, honestly, even though we think we want something different, we actually probably wouldn't want to be happy all the time. First of all, because we wouldn't know then it was happy, because happy only arises in contrast to its complementary opposite. And eventually, if it was only good, 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 happy, 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 happy all the time, eventually even that, I suggest for you to consider, would become painful. That the beauty of life is not in its sameness. The beauty of life is in all the notes that it brings us. So from this one source come all this huge variety of human emotions. But our tendency at the human mind level, without even necessarily realizing it, is we tend to choose for one, and automatically, without even realizing it, we make an enemy of the opposite. So we say, I want to be happy, right? And what we may not realize, and again, you don't have to believe me, just consider, I want you to contemplate this more than believe it. As soon as we say, I want to be happy, very subtly, we're choosing against the sad, right? If it's like just saying, well, I want to breathe in, very subtly, you're choosing against breathing out. It's the same kind of idea. So here we are, we've got this beautiful polarity of life that where one is only revealed in contrast to the other, all of these notes of life, but the human mind is capable of dividing them and choosing for the up versus the down, for the happy versus the sad. And the way that I imagine this is like a leaf that's falling in the wind. And if you imagine a leaf, falling in the wind, it goes one way and then the other way and then the other way and the other way. And that is its nature. Its nature is to be up and down as it falls through the wind. But the moment that we say, well, the leaf should only fall up and it should never fall down, right? It should never be face down. Now suddenly we have made an enemy of half of life. We have become afraid of half of life. And so really what Yoga Nidra and all the practices of yoga are about are returning to that polarity relationship with life, where we recognize, yeah, the leaf is going to fall up and it's going to fall down. That's part of its nature, is to simply flow the way that it's going to flow. And sometimes it's going to be one way and sometimes it's going to be the other way. So how does all of this relate to us? As I was reflecting today, I was thinking about positivity and I was thinking about how it relates to yoga. And what came to me is that there are really three stages that we go through on our spiritual journey. And every stage is very useful. They're all helpful. And we just want to watch out for, let's say, pitfalls along the way. So I think the very first stage that we need to go to is, what we normally think of as positivity, but I'm going to say it slightly differently. I'm going to say that we all have certain attitudes about life that aren't so helpful. It's like a lens that we look through life that is making life more difficult for us, making us think about, worry about, have a negative, like an unhelpful attitude towards life. Like nothing ever works out for me. Life is hard. Why bother anyway? Everybody's included and never me. So these can be lenses through which we look at life, and they are non-stilling. They create agitation in the mind. And so the very first level of things that we want to do in terms of creating intention in Yoga Nidra is starting to balance out, cultivating attitudes that are more helpful in terms of how we look at life. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that is very important. That's going to be the first level. So for example, if we are always looking to the past and regretting the past and saying, I wish I would have done it differently, always going back and ruminating and chewing on the past and saying, oh, if only I had made a different decision, it's already done in the past. But what we can do is look at it through another lens. Okay. So that lens might be, it's not like we're taking away what happened, but we're choosing to look at it, cultivate an attitude of looking at it in a more helpful way. That's going to help us move into the future with more balance and ease. So it might be, for example, I trust the path that has brought me here. Instead of, geez, I messed up my whole life and my life is over, it could be, I trust the path that has brought me here. So that is a beautiful and very helpful first place to begin. The pitfall is going to be when we use the positive or these helpful attitudes to suppress the negative. So, for example, and this is going to be stage 2 in our development. So, I'll give you an example in a minute, but stage 2 in our development is going to be not just cultivating attitudes that kind of create helpful ways of looking at life, but also developing a stronger and healthy relationship with the emotions and the feelings that we would normally reject. So typically what we'll do is, like, we've got this whole range of human emotion, but what we do is there are certain things that we don't want to feel, right? And so it's like, imagine that life has 1,000 musical notes, but we maybe have 500 that we're willing to feel, and the rest of them, we spend a lot of time trying to avoid those. So the second level of intention that we and you may want to think about is, what is it that I normally don't want to feel? And how can I use my intention to develop a relationship with what I normally don't want to feel? So maybe it's, maybe you lost a loved one, right? And normally maybe your habit is to go to distract yourself with work or with social media or with food or with friends. Maybe your intention in that case is, I allow myself to accept and feel what's present, right? So that's going to be the second level. First level, just cultivating attitudes that are going to help your outlook on life, that are going to be more quieting and be more useful to you in your life. Second level is to develop that same relationship, healthy relationship, with the stuff that you normally resist. Okay. Now, this is what I was pointing to before, is that in here, this is where some people get caught. And what they do is they say, oh, okay, healthy attitudes. Maybe I can bring in this healthy attitude so I don't have to feel this feeling I don't want to feel. You know what I'm talking about? So instead of I sit with my sadness, we bring in the positive feeling in order to cover up or suppress the negative feeling that's underneath it. And this is what this is the pitfall, and I'm going to call this toxic positivity. So what I mean by toxic positivity is, we're using the positive to suppress a part of our humanity that we actually need to feel, right? And you can usually feel this in somebody when they've got this going on, because they're telling you, like, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm great, but underneath you can feel the tears, you can feel the anger, you can feel the pain. Just because they put positivity on top of it doesn't mean that they've actually dealt with the pain. So that's where that level 2, that second stage of developing intention, is going to be really helpful. So rather than trying to cover up what we don't want to feel with kind of a superficial icing of positivity, take off the icing and create an intention around being willing to feel that emotion or thought. So now you've got a healthy relationship in terms of your outlook, but also you're kind of expanding what you have a healthy relationship with by starting to bring in the notes, the musical notes of the parts of life that we used to reject. So now you're widening your capacity, you're widening your container, rather than using one to cover the other. And so a good question to ask yourself would be, what feeling is it, or what experience is it that I don't like to feel, that I don't want to feel? Maybe it's loneliness. Maybe it's boredom or rejection, right? So just reflect on that for yourself. What is the feeling that I don't like to feel or want to feel, right? And today, there is a third level, but today, what I'm going to ask you to do in your Yoga Nidra is, you're going to be working with a silent intention. And what I'd like you to do is, we're going to work at this second level. So I want you to consider, what is it that you don't want to feel? And your intention is going to be something about, I allow myself to accept and feel whatever that is for you. And you don't have to say it exactly that way, but it could be, I allow myself to accept and feel conflict or anger or feeling lonely, feeling bored, feeling overwhelmed, whatever that is that you don't like to feel, I allow myself to accept and feel whatever that is. Okay, so that is going to be your intention today. So you'll have some time to reflect on that. And ultimately, what's going to happen as you go through stage 1, and then you go through stage 2, and you begin to widen your capacity to be with more of the human experience, what you're going to find is that more and more you come to even something that's greater than that. You start to become to a place where you can be at peace, whether it's good weather or bad weather, whether it's happy stuff in the container or in the sky, the clouds in your sky, or sad stuff. You're more and more going to find the light that is beyond both the light and the darkness. The peace that, as it's said in English or in Christianity, the peace that passeth understanding, the peace that is beyond the good or the bad or the happy or the sad, the place that you can always touch, that is always at peace, regardless of what happens to be moving through, whatever notes are present. And really, that is ultimately where Yoga Nidra is designed to take us. So that kind of intention would be something, it could be, I am at peace in the midst of chaos. I remain changeless in the midst of change. I am that which is present before, during, and after every experience comes and goes, right? And that's beautiful, that's wonderful, but we don't want to miss the other two, because the other two are kind of like stepping stones, and they're also part of our humanity. So we don't want to jump over those just to go straight to I'm the sky of awareness, because there's a place, an important place, for allowing our feelings, accepting our feelings, the whole of our humanity within that sky of awareness that we are. So today, as I guide your Yoga Nidra, my thought is the theme that I've chosen for you today is complementary opposites. So we're going to be doing, for example, Nadi Shodhana, where you're going to be breathing through alternate nostrils. I will front load this for you before we officially begin. I'll be guiding you through sun and rain. So it's just it's a visualization that allows you to see and feel, oh, both sun and rain are beautiful. They each have the sweetness of their notes. And more, we can allow all of those notes of our humanity to be present and to accept and feel them for what they are, because in fact, they make up the beauty of our human life. All right. So if you haven't gotten it yet, the question is, I allow myself to accept and feel what? What is it that you want to create that more accepting relationship with, a feeling, an experience that happens in your life that you tend to shut down around? Okay. So let that sit in there, see if an answer bubbles up for you. And in the meantime, we're going to start with just a little bit of movement. And I'm going to be talking you through this. So if at any time you have no idea what I'm talking about, just move, just do what feels good for your body. It's less about doing exactly what I'm saying and more just about preparing your body in a way that feels good. All right. So let's just begin right where you are with a little bit of side stretches. So just placing your right hand right next to you and bringing your one arm up and over to the side. Really grounding both sits bones down into your seat, reaching up through the whole side waist. And just taking a couple of full breaths here. And then coming back to center. And let's come up and over to the other side, reaching up and over. Again, grounding both sits bones down so you can really get a full opening in the whole side of the ribs. And then coming back to center. And you may need to push away from your seat a little bit, but let's just let's just circle the shoulders. So circling forward and up and back, and just lift your elbows off. So you're making circling with your shoulders and your elbows. So lifting, inhaling, rounding the spine. Exhaling, opening the chest, opening the arms. Couple more of these, inhaling. Reaching up, opening the chest. And then reaching around behind you as best as you can, interlacing your fingers behind your back. And just allowing the head, the ear to come up over towards one shoulder. Taking some full breaths here. And then the other shoulder. Easy breaths in and out, and just notice if one side is tighter than the other. Just gently beginning to move into the body this evening. And then coming back to center, releasing the arms for a moment. And then opening the eyes. And now just bringing your right arm out to the side and locking it in place with your left forearm. And we're going to do this a couple times. Inhale, right arm out to the side, and exhale, lock it in place. A couple more times, inhaling, and exhale. Last time, inhaling and exhaling. And then releasing down. We'll do the same on the other side, inhaling and exhaling. A few more times.
I think we lost Kamini. So I think we just have to wait till she logs in again, and I'll try to reach her. So just a moment, please.
I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, great. Sorry about that. We dropped out for a moment. Okay, so let's come on to our hands and knees. Just where you are. And I should have a strong connection now. We switched our network. Now if you're on your bed, take care of your wrists. So don't just be good to your body. And just go ahead and let's just start with a little bit of the cat and cow. Just rounding the spine, pressing it up towards the ceiling. And inhaling. arching the back and just alternating in your rhythm back and forth. And then once you've got the sense of that, we're going to begin to circle the ribs around. So go ahead and you're going to bend the elbows, bring the chest down towards the floor, circling the ribs all the way around, back up towards the ceiling, kind of like you imagine you're a cat, circling the rib cage all the way around, down towards the floor, and back up towards the ceiling. And don't worry so much about getting it right, but just enjoy the movement, enjoy the feeling, connecting the breath with the movement. And then circling the other way. And then coming back to center and just allowing yourself to sit back in a child's pose, bringing the buttocks to rest on the heels, forehead on the floor, and just stretch your arms as far out in front of you as you can. Just really reach the fingertips out as far as you can, allowing the chest to open, the arms. And then walking your hands over to the right. So staying in child pose, but walk the hands over to the right and sit back into the left hip so that you're creating an opening through the whole left side of the body. Reaching to the right, sitting back, pressing back into the left hip, opening through that whole left side of the body. And then coming to the other side, let's do the same thing. Walking the hands, arms over to the left, sitting back into the right hip so that you're really feeling that opening through the right side of the body. Taking some full breaths here. And then coming back to center. Coming back up onto hands and knees. And if it's appropriate and available, I'm going to have you lift your right leg off the floor. You can also just straighten your leg back behind you, but keep your toes curled under and your foot on the floor. So either your right leg off the floor, creating a straight line from foot to head, or your foot is on the floor and the toes are curled under, whichever one works for you. And just finding that line of energy from the toes to the head, engaging the core muscles, breathing, and just seeing if you can allow the body to find its strength and its alignment without struggle. 2 more breaths. And then release the knee back down to underneath the hips, sitting back into child's pose, and let go. Forehead to the floor. And just allow the sensation of the forehead on the floor to bring your attention to the third eye, the point between the eyebrows. Feeling the released energies of the pose beginning to draw your attention inward. And now slowly and mindfully coming back up onto hands and knees. And now extending the left leg behind you, either with the toes on the floor or off the floor. And wherever you are, just imagining a straight line of energy illuminating from the crown of the head to the tips of the toes, a straight line of energy. Breathe into that line, engaging the core muscles in the belly. 3 full breaths, steady mind, steady breath. just allowing the body to be engaged. If you ever need a rest, just come out and come back in, shifting as you need to. Hold, breathe, and then exhale, release, coming back to child's pose, both knees under both hips. Perhaps even separating the knees more this time, reaching the hands out even further in front of you, letting the whole torso release towards the floor. Maybe feeling a little opening in your inner thighs. And feeling your whole body beginning to become quiet and still. And slowly walking the hands back up. And as you come to your seat, as you sit upright, just keep your eyes closed. And see if you can feel that subtle shower of attention and energy showering down from the crown of the head into the face, the shoulders, the arms, the torso. And then as you're ready, just go ahead and mindfully shift onto your back. Don't cover yourself just yet. And just keep your cover handy. I'll let you know when it's time to cover yourself. And just bringing the knees into the chest, hugging the knees to the chest, perhaps taking a little rock from side to side. And if it feels appropriate for you, separate the knees and take hold of your ankles so that you're in a kind of butterfly pose. The knees are falling apart. If you prefer to be in happy baby, that's fine too. Just enjoying the opening in the inner thighs, the hips, the lower back. Maybe taking a little rock from side to side. And then making any last minute adjustments, any poses that you need to make. Maybe your body wants a little bit of a twist or something else. Just take a moment to do that. And then prepare yourself for Yoga Nidra. So just as you're getting settled, you can just listen with one ear. We're going to be doing a technique called Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. But in this variation, you will not be using your fingers. You'll just be moving your attention from one nostril to the other. So if you're not familiar with this technique, I'm going to have you imagine that you're breathing in through one nostril, holding at the third eye, the point between the eyebrows, exhaling through the opposite nostril. And you'll inhale through that same nostril, hold the breath in, and exhale through that opposite nostril. So I'll guide you through this, but just know that you don't need to use your hands. You can just stay in your non-doing space. We're also going to be doing a technique called breath holding. If you shouldn't be holding your breath for any reason, just pause momentarily at the top of the inhalation before you exhale again. Just don't hold your breath for any length of time. Just pause for a moment. So we're going to begin by chanting a continuous Om together. As you chant, allow the sound to come from deep in your belly. And when you run out of breath, take another full breath in and begin again. We'll do this about 4 times. Take a breath in. And now stop. Feeling the vibrational impact in the skull, the torso, the arms. Allowing your outward attention to begin to move inward. Now, with your eyes closed, quiet your mind. Be still. Let go of all thoughts, worries, and tensions. Give yourself fully to a higher power. Relax. Trust. And let go. Breathe in fully. And exhale with a deep sigh. And again, breathe in fully. And let go even more. And feel a deep sense of peace and contentment in your heart. And now silently bringing your intention into your awareness, perhaps beginning with, I allow myself to accept and feel, and filling in that silently, bringing your intention into your awareness 3 times. Now follow my guidance as we take 3 deep breaths. Ready? Let's inhale together. Hold the breath in, closing off the throat. And when prompted by the inner urge of the body, release the breath slow and steady. Breathing normally. Second breath now, inhale together. Hold the breath in, closing off the throat. And holding a bit longer now, but without strain. When prompted, release fully, expelling from the body whatever it no longer needs. Breathing normally. Allowing any deep-seated tensions to leave your body with the exhaling breath. Third breath, inhale together. Hold the breath in, closing off the throat. And holding even longer now, but without strain. Remain the neutral observer. When prompted, release the breath, breathing it all out, letting it all go until there's nothing left. Completely empty and open. Breathing normally. Simply allowing the breath to rise and fall in its own rhythm. The breath becoming progressively quieter and more still until it's almost impossible to detect. Now bring your attention to the face. With your next exhalation, allow all expression to drop from the face. Releasing the tiny muscles around the eyes. Allowing the eyeballs to rest back in their sockets. Releasing the tiny muscles around the mouth. Tongue resting in the mouth. Lower jaw gently opening, softening. Allowing the cheeks to soften towards the floor. Scalp resting on the skull. Neck softening and easing. Simply be available to the entire range of sensations in the face and head. Embrace the present moment's experience, undistorted by what you like or don't like. Now, as we enter this next phase of Yoga Nidra, remain as motionless as possible. If you need to move or make an adjustment, do so mindfully and return to stillness as soon as you're able. Resolve to remain awake, staying in touch with the sound of my voice. Simply allow your entire body to respond to my words directly and non-mentally. Allow any disturbances, external or internal, to draw you more deeply within. In Yoga Nidra, you enter the subconscious field of prana. Let your mind merge and melt into the energy body and go beyond the boundaries of body and mind. Now shift from thinking and doing to feeling and being. Do absolutely nothing from now on. Drop into the deepest state of tranquility, stillness, and peace in the third eye. Now your consciousness is in direct communion with your energy body. Bring your attention to the flow of breath, specifically the breath as it naturally moves through both nostrils. See the breath as two separate streams rising and falling. No effort to change or control the breath. Simply watching its natural flow. Now bring your attention to the breath moving through the right nostril. Inhaling and exhaling through the right nostril. Sensing the warmth of the breath as it passes through the right nostril. Continue for the next few breaths. Now bring your attention to the left nostril. Inhaling and exhaling through the left nostril. Sensing the coolness of the breath in the left nostril. Continue for the next few breaths. Now begin to visualize breathing through alternate nostrils. On your next inhalation, breathe in through the right nostril and exhale through the left. Inhale through the left and exhale through the right. Continue on your own. No effort or doing on your part. Inhale one nostril. Exhale opposite nostril. Continue on your own, sensing the subtle coolness of the left nostril, the warmth of the right as you continue to breathe. Now we'll bring attention to the third eye as we breathe. On your next inhalation, breathe in, hold the breath at the third eye before exhaling through the opposite nostril. Inhale, hold, and exhale. Continue breathing in this way, holding the breath at the top of the inhalation without struggle or strain. Letting the inner wisdom of the body initiate the next breath. Inhale. Hold at the third eye. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Now breathe normally, simply witnessing the breath flowing equally through both nostrils. Sun and moon, Ida and Pingala, yin and yang, restored to harmony and balance. Right and left brain becoming one synchronized, unified whole. Merging into oneness. Allow attention to naturally rest at the third eye, eyebrow center, magnetically drawing attention and energy inward. Enter an effortless state of being. Now let your attention move to each body part as I name it. Feel subtle energy following attention as the body begins to heal, integrate, and balance. Bring your undivided attention to the right foot, left foot, right leg, left leg, right buttock, left buttock, right lower back, left lower back, right middle back, left middle back, right shoulder blade, left shoulder blade, right arm, left arm, right palm, left palm, whole spinal cord, whole spinal cord, back of the neck, back of the head, top of the head, forehead, right temple, left temple, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, point between the eyebrows, third eye, right ear, left ear, right cheek, left cheek, right jaw, left jaw, right side of the throat, left side of the throat, right collarbone, left collarbone, right side of the rib cage, left side of the rib cage, right side of the abdomen, left side of the abdomen. Now bring your attention to the middle of the chest. Become aware of the heart center. direct experience of the. Now expand your attention to each and every part of the body. One cohesive being functioning in a unified and harmonious way. Or imagine you're walking through a beautiful garden, completely alone. Only you to enjoy the beauty around. Sense the earth beneath your feet as you walk. Cool and very pleasant. Flowers blooming. Plants and trees flourishing from the earth. You hear a loud clap of thunder. As you look up, the skies become very dark. It is starting to rain. You're standing on very green grass, watching the raindrops bounce on the blades of grass. Look around and witness the storm. Raindrops streaming down your face, drenching your clothes. Just relax and enjoy the feeling of being completely wet. No concern about getting wet. Doesn't matter. It's very pleasant to get wet. Now the storm is finished. You can smell the wet earth. The sun beginning to shine through the clouds. Feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, drying your clothes. Look up at the sun and feel its warmth and energy penetrating deeply into your skin, entering your body until you feel warm everywhere. Now you're running in the garden. You're very happy and cannot help but laugh with joy. All around you are birds singing their beautiful melodies. A cool, gentle breeze is blowing in the trees. Hear the wind rustling in the trees and feel it blowing against your face and through your hair. Breathe in the fresh, life-giving air. Give yourself the permission to enter into the deepest level of relaxation right now. Let go. Nothing to do or achieve. You've entered the domain of grace. Open, empty of all doing. Empty of all past. All future. Merge into this space and be empty. Allowing it all to pass by like clouds on a clear blue sky. Here, your intentions and affirmations are actualized and fulfilled with effortless ease. Bringing your silent intention into your awareness 3 times. The part of your life that you allow yourself to accept and feel. Feel this intention being assimilated and adopted by all levels of your body and being. Completely assimilated, totally digested, fully actualized. Allow yourself to respond spontaneously and effortlessly to what I say. I allow that which is coming to come. I allow that which is going to go. I experience all events of my life undistorted by my personal bias. Recognize at this sacred moment that your whole being has made a major paradigm shift. Establish yourself in total trust and faith that remains free from any need to be in control. feel totally unburdened and free to move in life with effortless ease. Knowing that you are soul, you can witness life's experiences and let them pass by, trusting that right response and right actions will come through. With that clarity, keep your heart open to all conditions. Now slowly beginning to deepen your inhalations and exhalations. Allowing your inhalations to be just a bit more full, your exhalations a bit more complete. Deepening the breath. Perhaps feeling the body beginning to rise to the surface of awareness. Take your time, there's no hurry. Sensing the body resting on the floor. The quality of the air as it touches the skin. And only if you feel the impulse, you can begin to move the fingers and toes, stretching the arms and legs as if waking from a restful sleep. If the impulse is to remain still, feel free. And if it feels right, you can turn onto your right side, curled in a fetal position. Feeling yourself held in safety and comfort. Bring your intention into your awareness once again. Change nothing. Every time you find yourself in reaction, you're empowered to replace it with your intention. Regardless of what you consciously recognize that has or has not changed. Know that something deep within has shifted to connect you with your intention. And bring a deep sense of peace with you as you bring awareness back to the physical body. You can either remain where you are or use the strength of your arms to bring yourself up to a seated position. Taking a moment to get yourself settled. And then when you're ready, just dropping back into silence once again. Notice how attention is spontaneously held in meditation. We'll chant Om together, inhaling. Om. Shanti. As you're ready, bringing the hands together, opening the eyes. Jai Bhagwan, namaste everyone. So good to be with you during this time. So wonderful to connect. So I wish you all a wonderful sleep, a good rest, and love the hearts. Thank you. So good to see you. And I will see you next time around. If anyone wants to stay on for questions, you're welcome to, but otherwise, please just go off to sleep and have a good night. Bye. Good night, everyone. Jai Bhagwan.